Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I have another ship with me video for you. This week I sold over $1,300 worth of items. I'm really excited to share the different things that I'm shipping out. So if you're interested in what is selling right now for big profits, or if you're just nosy and want to see what another reseller is profiting on her items, then keep watching. It's Monday, September 8th, and these are sales from over the weekend. Poshmark was pretty quiet for me this weekend, but I have 4 total sales to ship out, so I'm happy about that. Happy to have some sales at least. Okay, so the first sale was this discontinued Neutrogena Healthy Skin Anti-Wrinkle Cream. It ended up selling for $28. So sometimes when you find these discontinued beauty products, they can sell for considerably more than the original retail price. In fact, I may have undersold this a little bit, but it had been listed a little while, and I just sold the other one last week, I think, and then this buyer offered me $28, so I just decided to accept it. I didn't buy this for resale, so I can't remember exactly how much I paid for it. I think $8 or $10. So I put my cost of goods as $10, so that made my profit $12.40. Not a huge sale or anything, but it was just something that was sitting in my medicine cabinet, so happy to make my money back on that. For the remainder of the video, when I talk about my profit, you can assume that I am deducting any website fees, my cost of goods, and any shipping discounts. Just don't want to have to repeat myself over and over again all throughout the video. Okay, so I am using a priority mailbox, but like I said, it is September 8th and the new Poshmark shipping has not gone into effect yet. And if you have not heard about that, I will link a quick video that I did in the description box below. Basically, Poshmark reduced their shipping costs from $8.27. They reduced it to $6.49, which is great. The difference is that our shipments will now go via Ground Advantage, and you will no longer be able to use the priority mailboxes after September 12th. So if you want all the details, click on the video that I have in the description box below. But I just want to clarify that this is filmed prior to that change. Okay, so the next sale was this pair of leather kind of hiking combat boots. These are by Dromdaris. I don't know how to say that, but I've heard other sellers say that they do good with this brand. I can't remember, I have 2 pairs of these listed. These ended up selling for $30. So I can't remember if it's this pair that has been listed forever or the other color that's been listed forever. But when I got this offer and my sales have been slow on Posh, I just decided to accept that $30. I am tired of looking at both pairs of these, so I'm ready to move them out. It does look like I paid up for these. I paid about $12. So that made my profit $12. Whatever, I doubled my money, and I'm just going to be happy that I have this sale to ship out today since sales have been so quiet for me. And I know I've been saying this, I feel like a broken record. I haven't been listing as much as I should be, and I'm sure that that is impacting my sales, but a lot of you guys in my comments on my recent video are saying that your sales are terrible too. So I don't know if it's because of the changes that Poshmark has kind of been making in the background to the shipping. I noticed that they changed like how the pictures show up, kind of the way the carousel of pictures shows up in the listings. And when you go to do a listing, it shows up differently. I don't know if it's worse or better. I struggle with change at all. So of course I don't like it because it's a change, but that doesn't mean that it is necessarily a bad thing, just something to get used to. I think they're kind of wanting people to lean into using the AI feature, but personally, I think that their AI feature is useless. I mean, it just basically creates the same description for every single item, but just puts in a couple of keywords. So it's really not helpful. It actually makes it take more time for me if I use that, because usually I just delete it and, you know, use my own description. Okay, I already told you my profit and everything. What do you guys think about the AI feature? I'm kind of, you know, I'm a little bit older, so the using AI feels uncomfortable to me, and like, you know, something bad could happen. But I know that a lot of the younger generation of resellers are using it, and they're saying it's a game changer and it's going to be a game changer. And so I think that, you know, it's definitely worth trying out once you feel comfortable with it. I do think that it could really be beneficial for our business, like streamlining things, being able to list faster, things like that. I don't have any recommendations for what to use or how to use it because I don't know, but I'm hoping that I will step out of my comfort zone and try and use it a little bit here in the future. And if I do, of course, I'll share my experience. Okay, so those 2 items sold on Poshmark. The next 2 items sold on Cherish. And the first item is this decanter. I just picked this up because I liked the shape of it. For those of you who have been watching, you know that I have reduced the prices on all of my decanters on Cherish, and now they're selling. So this sold for $60. It's kind of looking like most of my decanters are selling in the $40 to $60 range. So that seems to be the sweet spot, kind of based on the, you know, the shape and the quality, you know, if they're fancy or if they have a name brand. Most of the decanters that I've picked up don't have name brands, but if you're looking to resell them, that could be a range that you could expect to price and sell your decanters in. I paid $4 for this, so that made my profit $45. This did take a long time to sell. Like I've said before, decanters have been a slow seller for me, so I wasn't even picking them up anymore because I had so many of them. When my mom and I had a brick and mortar store on the main street in our town, we sold decanters and barware like it was going out of style. I mean, we could buy almost any decanter or any piece of vintage barware and it would fly out the door. So I kept buying after I had the brick and mortar store, and it just didn't sell the same online as it did in person. But I think I've found the sweet spot for pricing, or maybe decanters are becoming more trendy. I don't know what the deal is, but I'm happy to move through some of this old inventory so that I can buy more different new stuff. Okay, and then the next item's kind of an interesting little piece. It is this little panther figurine. It does have this, what do they call this? Redware, red pottery, I don't know exactly, but I do think this is from the 1950s. I just thought he was a charming little guy, so that's why I picked him up. He ended up selling for $42. I only paid $1 for this at an estate sale, so that made my profit $32.20. I will package these up off camera just because they take a little bit more time. Okay, don't go anywhere. This video will continue with what else I sell this week, and I'll be right back. Hey again, it is Wednesday and I've got a few more things to ship out. Okay, so the first sale is this pair of turquoise earrings. They sold for $43. I paid about $5 for these. So they are sterling silver with genuine turquoise. They are actually clip-on earrings. These took forever to sell. I mean, years. I don't know why. I think maybe because they were clip-ons and I kept telling myself that I was just going to switch them out and put them on like a sterling silver hook, and I just never did it. But I'm glad they sold for $43. I think that's a pretty good sale price, and that made my profit $27.08. Overall, I'm happy with that. I do wish that they would have sold quicker. I haven't mentioned this in a while, but I use these, I use a combination of recycled jewelry boxes that I get like at thrift stores and estate sales. And then I also buy these from the dollar store. They are in the food storage section, usually on the end caps, but you get 10 of them for, well, it was $1, then it was $1.25. I don't know what the dollar store is now, but they're still pretty affordable, in the 10 to 15 cents per box. And people love these. So I think it's okay to use plastic when it does seem like people will be able to repurpose it or reuse it. Okay, I also had a bundle sale, and it was for these 2 vintage black patent leather bags. I just love these type of bags. I think this one, the shape particularly, is absolutely adorable. It's in beautiful condition. These are probably from the 1950s or 1960s. While I do love these bags, they don't typically sell very quickly or for super high dollar amounts. This bundle sold for $60. I still pick them up though if they're affordable, just because I enjoy finding them and selling them. And you know, if I can get them for under $5, that's typically what I will that's typically when I will pick them up. So it's okay if they don't sell for big money, or, you know, if they take a little while to sell, just because it's not always about the money for me. Sometimes it's just about things that bring me joy. And it looks like I'm going to need bigger pieces of paper to package these up, so I will do that off camera. So this bag I picked up for $4 at the Goodwill, or $5, $4.99. And then this bag I got in an estate sale for $1. So in those cases, you know, definitely want to pick them up. Sometimes if they are marked with a certain name brand, that will increase the value, so you want to look up that name brand. But typically just these, you know, plain patent leather, black patent leather bags sell in the $20 to $40 range for me, and they don't sell super quickly. Just letting you guys know that, so in case you find one, kind of, you can manage your expectations. Okay, so the bundle sold for $60. I paid a total of $6 for both, so that made my profit $42. Today is the last day. It's September 10th. It's the last day that I can use priority mailboxes since Poshmark changed to Ground Advantage. And if you happen to haven't watched my other videos, you can't use priority mail packaging anymore. You risk being denied at the post office or having it be returned to you. But I'm glad, because I have a large box that I can easily put those in. Hopefully the new free Ground Advantage packaging, they'll have a larger box too. Okay, the next item that sold are these clogs. I've mentioned quite a few times that I have had pretty good luck with these clogs lately. They've been selling, these sold quickly within, I think, maybe 2 weeks of listing, and they sold for $50. They did not have a brand in them. They just had this Swedish flag, but I looked that up and put what I thought the brand was based on that. And, you know, just said there is no brand name on these, but they have this, I believe they are this brand, and they still sold for $50. Typically, the size mark is printed on the bottom in the wood. So these were a size 38, which translates to about a US size 8. I paid about $6 for these at a thrift store, so that made my profit $34. I am totally happy with that, especially since they sold quickly. Also, like I said, the clogs have been selling for good dollar amounts and relatively quickly, most of them within a month of listing. And these are wooden clogs and Dansko clogs, have both been doing really well for me. And I don't know about your guys' Goodwill, but for a while there, mine was really pricing up Danskos. This has been a year or two ago. And then since then, they have really reduced the prices. In general, they're pricing them like $6.99, $9.99, or $12.99. But I think if you can flip something for $40, that is still okay to pay that amount, especially if it will, you know, flip quickly. Okay, another item that sold relatively quickly, and it's possible that these sold quicker because I did feature them in a recent thrift haul, but clogs that I didn't feature in thrift hauls are still selling quickly. So the next item is this pair of Camper brand shoes. I'm not sure if these are vintage or they're just meant to look vintage, but they kind of look 90s Y2K to me. Definitely that kind of chunky vibe. These sold for $48. Again, it took about 2 or 3 weeks for them to sell. I did pay up for these. My Goodwill had them priced at $12.99, but I had a 10% off coupon, so I paid about $12 for them. So that made my profit $26.40. Again, I am happy with that. And yeah, I did get an offer on a Louis Vuitton bag that I have listed, and I've had it listed for, it's been a few months actually that I've had it listed, and honestly I think it was kind of a bad buy. So if I accept this offer, I'll only end up profiting like $10 on it. But I think I am going to accept it because, like I said, it's been sitting for a while. I don't think it was the greatest buy. And also, I like to share the good, the bad, the ugly with you guys. So I'll share this. If the sale goes through, I'll share it in the next clip. And so you guys can kind of see, I'll tell you why I think it was a bad buy. And so if you're interested in trying to flip designer handbags, you can kind of take some of those tips on things to avoid when you're picking up bags to flip. Okay, don't go anywhere. I don't know if I've already said this, but if you're enjoying my videos and you haven't already subscribed, why not? I would love it if you would subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. It means the world to me and it really helps me out. Also, if you like this video, I'd love it if you'd give a thumbs up and make a comment down below. Okay, don't go anywhere. This video will continue with what else to sell. I'll be right back. Hey again, it's Thursday and I've got a couple more things to ship out. So I did accept that offer on the Louis Vuitton bag that I considered a bad buy. So I'll tell you why I think this was not a good buy. So it is this Louis Vuitton bag. This is called the Siracusa bag, I think. It is a discontinued style. First of all, it sold for $327. I received an offer on Cherish for $325, and I had a $2 packaging fee, making the total $327. So the reason that I think this was a bad buy is that this is a discontinued style. And since kind of doing more of these flips, I have decided that I want to focus on classic styles from designer brands. So styles that they bring back year after year. I really feel like they hold their value better. Also, this was the purchase was kind of impulsive because it seemed like a good price and I did not thoroughly look at the condition of the bag. And I think that really came into play. So as you can see, there is some pretty significant watermarks here. I mean, not watermarks, stains, in fact. And on the back here, and then the interior, I don't know, yeah, it is really dirty. And I tried to turn this inside out and clean it, and I just could not get much out of it. So I think those are the reasons that this was not a good buy. And like I said, I'm going to stick to the classic styles unless the price is insanely affordable. I paid $216 for this plus tax and shipping for a total of $243. I did look at comps before I bought it, but the comps were in good condition. And I just don't think people are that I don't think people know about this style of bag that much, so they aren't going to be as actively searching for it as they would other styles of Louis Vuitton bags. So all that being said, after Posh fees, my cost of goods, that made my profit a whopping $12. Not what I want when I am investing over $200 in an item. But I did want to share with you guys kind of why I think this was not a good purchase. It has been listed. I'm sorry, I should have looked at the date that I bought it, but it's been listed at least three months, maybe up to 6 months. That is why I just accepted the offer, because I don't want to hang on to this and have my $243 investment sitting there any longer. I am going to package this up off camera, but just wanted to share that with you guys. Hope it is helpful. I did have one pretty good sale on Poshmark, and it is this large travel duffel bag from American West. Is that what it's called? Yes, American West. Let's see, can I get that little logo there? And this is all real leather, hand tooled, beautiful. This sold for $120. These have a pretty high retail, and honestly I did have it priced considerably more than that to start out with. I think maybe I started it at $229 and I had reduced the price somewhat, and then the buyer offered me this $120. But I think this has been listed close to a year, and it sat in my death pile for so long before that, just because it's so big and I just wasn't motivated to list it. I only paid $15 for this, so that is great. So that made my profit $81. I am trying to realize the things that I am not motivated to list and avoid picking them up, and large bulky items like this that I would sell on Poshmark are the type of item that I am not motivated to list, because then I have to find a special box for it. That it will fit in. I have to pay for an upgraded label, which I did not take that out of my profit, but I would assume that I'm going to spend an extra $5 to $10 upgrading the label, because I'm sure this is going to be over 5 pounds. I did check today to see what the cost to upgrade the label would be, and it is September 11th. So the day before Poshmark makes the changes, and it will be $4.50 still to upgrade to 6 pounds. So I'm going to get it packaged up and then wait till tomorrow and see what it costs to upgrade the shipping label, to see if it's any cheaper tomorrow with that cheaper shipping cost. It may not make a difference. I don't know, but I'm curious, and I will hopefully remember to let you guys know what the difference is. So, with those couple of higher dollar sales, it's shaping up to be an okay week. I still have not had a ton of volume of sales though, and that is because I still have not been consistently listing. And I'm going to say this over and over again until I get it drilled into my head and into your head. If you don't list consistently, you are not going to sell consistently. I do think it is important to purchase in-demand items that you think and hope will sell quickly. But regardless of if you do that, if you're not actively listing and being active on the platform, your old items that may not be as desirable definitely will not sell. So just kind of sharing that insight with you if you're new to my channel, or if you need to hear it, that, listing a couple of times a week, a couple of items just is not going to do it to produce a full-time or consistent income being a reseller. So here's to me continuing to be more productive. This week I have been better than in the previous weeks, hoping to get back on track. You guys are probably tired of hearing me say that, because my motivation comes and goes, ebbs and flows, and I know you guys understand that. All right, don't go anywhere. This video will continue. Hopefully I sell some more great stuff, and I'll be right back. Hi again, it's Friday and I've got quite a few more sales to ship out. I'm pretty excited. Okay, so everything that sold on Poshmark, and the first sale was a set of 4 of these Starbucks mugs. These sold for $79 for the set of 4. I am very particular about what Starbucks items I pick up now. I think they're pretty oversaturated, and these have been listed for 4 to 6 months. I had them listed higher, but I really liked these, so that's why I picked them up. I love the iridescent look to them. They were in pretty great condition, just a few water spots. The Goodwill did have these priced up though. I paid $5 a piece for these. So my total cost of goods was $20. I will, of course, wrap these in bubble wrap as well, and I may even double box them. These sold before the change to Ground Advantage shipping, so I still get to use my priority box. And you guys know that overall I've said that I think that that is a good change, and I still do, but it is going to be a little bit of a hassle trying to find the right size boxes all the time. And honestly though, I have not ordered the new packaging, the new Ground Advantage packaging yet, so I shouldn't be, I guess, making a decision on how hard or difficult it's going to be until I get that packaging and, you know, see what my options are. But I am, you know, I have in the past felt a little guilty about using new packaging on all of my shipments. And I'm not trying to say you guys should feel guilty or anything like that, but I just think about how many Amazon boxes get sent out every day that are in perfectly good condition that I could be, you know, giving a second use to instead of using brand new packaging. But time is money, and, you know, sometimes you just have to look at the overall benefit to your, you know, cost versus benefit to your business when making decisions. So I do think I'm going to take this opportunity to try and use more recycled boxes in my Poshmark shipping. I use about 50-50 recycled boxes for my Cherish items, but I'm going to make an effort to improve on my recycled packaging uses for my Poshmark business. And I think, you know, as long as we do our best and we make an effort to reuse items, and really in our business we are trying to reduce the, you know, consumption of clothing and other items by selling used items. So I think that we are doing our part in, you know, in some form. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So my profit was $43.20. Overall, I'm happy with that. That's kind of, you know, what I thought. The next item is a pretty good sale. It is this pair of teeny tiny Black Hills gold earrings. They have little diamonds in them. I picked these up, well, these sold for $145. I did have them priced quite a bit higher to begin with, but I got this offer for $145 and I decided to accept it because they had been listed somewhere in the neighborhood of a year or more possibly. And I felt like that was a pretty fair price, especially considering I only paid about $3 for these at an estate sale. I picked up a little jewelry box full of stuff, and I think they only charged me $10. It was all teeny tiny stud earrings like these. Some of them weren't really worth listing, but there was a couple pairs of these Black Hills gold earrings, and I saw those, and that's why I grabbed the little jewelry box. So I put my cost of goods as about $3, so that made my profit $113. I'm thrilled with that. This is, you know, one of the reasons why I like selling jewelry because there can be some pretty great profits. Okay, the next item that sold is this pair of Eileen Fisher kind of pump sandals, not sure exactly what to call them. These ended up selling for $30, which I kind of had hoped for a little bit more. But again, they had been listed for a little while. Not a super long time, but a few months for sure. And, you know, I'm feeling motivated to continue to sell items, keep some momentum going in my closet. I have listed new items every day this week, and so I think that is finally kind of catching up and, you know, catching the algorithm and getting my other items pushed out for people to see. So that is great. I paid about $6 for these at the Goodwill, so that made my profit $18. This is a ground label, so I'm going to need to find a box for that. And I sold another designer bag, and it was another dud. But you guys know I like to share the good, the bad, and the ugly. So here we go. I'm motivated to, you know, move on from these and invest this money into some other bags that I think will profit me more. Okay, so this is a vintage Fendi bag. I thought this was pretty cute. I think I just overpaid for what it is and the condition. So it has a long strap that you can wear crossbody, or you can double it up and wear it as a shoulder bag. This ended up selling for $200, and I did look it up, and it has been listed for about 5 to 6 months as well. I paid $125 plus tax and shipping, so a total of about $145. Let's see, where am I going to put this? I don't think I want to tuck that in there. So that only made my profit $15 after Poshmark fees. Not the kind of flip I'm looking to have with, you know, these bags or in general. I don't want to be making a big investment like that and only make $15. But as I said from the beginning, this is a learning experience for me. Most of my flips have gone pretty great, in fact. So I'm not going to beat myself up about this, just kind of learn from my mistakes and know what to look for more when I am buying stuff in the future. And I have bought, before I started really experimenting with flipping designer handbags, I came across some pretty good deals on a Fendi bag and a Bottega Veneta bag, but I only paid like, well, again, I paid about $125 each, but they were more substantial, larger size bags, and they had some leather on them, so maybe that was the difference. But both of those I did quite well on and made $200+ on each one. So I was kind of, you know, when I picked up this Fendi bag, I was thinking, oh, you know, I had good luck with Fendi before. Hopefully I'll have good luck with this. And that just goes to show that it's not always, we know this, but it's not always about the brand of an item. It is also about the style and the condition. And both of these, you see that the style and the condition were not quite there. The condition of this was pretty good. It just had some wear kind of along the edges. I definitely still would have worn this and felt like it looked good. Okay, the next item that sold is this vintage metal mesh handbag. And it does also have a longer strap. I think it's just a shoulder strap, but this didn't even look like it had been used, still folded up. The bag looked like it had been used a little bit. This ended up selling for $34. This was listed a little while as well. I'm not sure, maybe close to a year, not sure exactly how long. But this was another one of the bags that I think that I picked up at that estate sale where there was a whole box of vintage handbags for $1 a piece. Did I say this sold for $34? But I think these are cute. This style with the kind of metal mesh, inspired by Whiting and Davis, which was a brand, I'm not sure when they started, in the 50s and 60s, I think. Pretty popular brand. This one was not that, but it was inspired by that. So since I only paid $1 for this, it made my profit $26.20. I am happy with that, happy to move it along. So overall, I've had quite some high dollar sales this week, but my profits, it has not translated to high profits. That is okay. I am always a work in progress and happy to learn from my mistakes and move forward and do better the next time. Okay, don't go anywhere. This video will continue. I'm going to ship again tomorrow if I have more sales. But as you can see, what did I have? 5 more sales in the last less than 24 hours. So hopefully I have some more sales to ship with you. If not, I will finish out the video and share what my statistics were for the week. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll be right back. Okay, again, I've got a couple more sales to ship out. So the first item is this vintage sterling silver Boy Scouts ring. I picked this up in a large jewelry buyout that I did. Maybe not something that I would normally grab, but it ended up selling relatively quickly within a couple of months. It sold for $27, so not a, huge sale or anything, but I only paid an average of $4 per item for that jewelry buyout. And what I mean by that is someone called me and had a bunch of their mom's and their aunt's jewelry they had already gone through and kept the items that were sentimental or they were interested in. And then the rest of the items, they just wanted me to make a bulk offer and buy everything. So there were quite a few things there that I just won't list. And I'm not sure what I will do with those. There was some really valuable things and some moderately valuable things that I felt like were worth listing, like this item. So that made my profit $17.60 on this. I'm happy with that. It's pretty easy to list jewelry. The next item that sold is this pair of tall leather boots. These are beautiful quality boots. They're by Gentle Souls Kenneth Cole. And I accepted an offer for $29 on these. They have been listed since the end of last winter. So we were getting ready to come into spring when I listed these. So that is probably why they hadn't sold yet. But because they had been listed a little while, I just decided to go ahead and accept that $29, particularly because I do think that this brand may have a decent retail. Like, I don't know exactly. I didn't look it up, but I would guess that these were $129 or $149. I don't think that it is a brand that, I really want to hold out for top dollar on. Also, when I was selling, accepting offers on the Louis Vuitton bag and the Fendi bag, it kind of made me think, why am I not more eager to move my standard items as quickly as these designer items? Well, one of the reasons is because I have a much higher buy-in on the designer items. But it just, it just made me think maybe I do want to, and I've thought this before. You guys who watch me regularly know that I go through phases with things. But I just decided I wanted to sell these and move them out. They were in excellent condition. They're beautiful boots. But this person got a good deal, so I'm just going to focus on them getting a good deal and taking this profit and putting it into another item. I did pay up for these. I paid about $12 for them at the Goodwill, mainly just because they were in beautiful condition. So that made my profit $11.20. Nothing to get super excited about, but a sale is a sale, and another item, you know, that I can move out and go thrifting for something else instead. Okay, so like I said at the beginning of the video, it turned out to be a pretty great week. My total sales for the week were $1,352. My total cost of goods was $509. And my total profit after website fees, cost of goods, and any shipping discounts was $564.28. So my margins were nowhere near as good this week, but I was very transparent that I made very small profits on those couple of designer bags that I made mistakes on, basically. But I have already used the money from one of them to purchase a classic style Louis Vuitton bag. So hopefully I can flip that for more, and I'll just, you know, chalk it up to a learning experience with those other two bags. So overall, I'm still happy. I sold a total of 17 items, which is closer to my 20 item per week goal, which made my average sale price $79.52. I think that's great. My average cost of goods, $29.94, and my average profit per sale, $33.19. All really good statistics. I didn't have time this week to break down the different categories that I sold, but you guys can count them up by watching, you know, the video and what I said. So I hope you guys are all having a great sales week so far. So this will come out a couple of weeks after the update for the Poshmark shipping change, but I did just order my Ground Advantage packaging supplies from the post office, and I used the email that is in the Poshmark blog. I'll try and remember to link that in the description box below with the email and the box sizes, and I just followed the instructions, sent an email. I did get a response back from the email, basically confirming that they received my order and that I would get a email notifying me when my order had shipped. A few of you asked in my comments in a couple weeks ago video if people were getting responses to their orders. So it sounds like some of you weren't getting a response. I did, but I think that just might be based on who received your order. A lot of people said they didn't get responses, but they still got an update when their order shipped. So I wouldn't panic. And it doesn't sound like that email should be used to ask questions about orders. I would recommend calling the 800 number, which will also be linked in the description box below, or you can go to the Poshmark blog and read all about it. But like I said, I have not got my packaging yet, so I'm just using recycled packaging from different Amazon orders that I've gotten, other random stuff that I have laying around. So I don't really feel like it's that big of a deal. I know a lot of people did, but I think that it will all hopefully work out for the best. Okay, thank you so very much for watching. I really appreciate your guys' support as usual, and I'll see you all again next week.